The broadcast is live.
We are live. Welcome, everyone. This is Debra Eckerling. I'm the author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals, and founder of the Deb Method and host of Goal Chat, and now Goal Chat Live. Now, Goal Chat is my Sunday night Twitter chat where my community and I come together and we share our wins and we set new goals and we talk about the topic. And this week's topic is spring projects. So, of course, I had to bring over my friend David King. Now, David is a member of my Write On support group back when it was writers. Now it's writers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. But we met at Barnes & Noble like a gazillion years ago in a Barnes & Noble that sadly no longer exists. And you came to my live writers group, and that's how we met. And it was actually before the Learning Garden existed, or about the time it did, right?
Right.
So I'm thrilled that you could be here. And
Thank you.
David is garden master and grand poobah of the Learning Garden, Venice High School, and a bunch of other things. So why don't you introduce yourself better?
Okay. I'll try to top that. I do want to say, though, that just before, while leading up to this, I was thinking about when did I join the writers group? What year was that? I couldn't reach a conclusion, but I knew it was way back there. I mean, way back there, like almost 20 years ago.
It would have been probably 2002, because that's when we started it at the Barnes & Noble in Santa Monica. And I remember meeting you at a different event and said, come on over.
Yes. Is that how it happened? Okay.
Yes.
I enjoyed that. I still have pictures from that, and I reminisce about that.
Good things.
Yes, good things, good times.
Yes. And now the times they are a-changing.
They done changed.
They done changed. And over the years, so Write On became more of an online community with some real life aspects. And now at least we've got online, so we can continue to connect with people and have that next best thing to being there sort of deal, right?
So we're almost exactly the opposite. We're, if you don't show up, you don't get to play over at the garden. So we have a challenge ahead of us. The last year, they came in and constructed a building next to us and used the garden itself as the staging area for the big trucks and the bulldozers and all the crap they used to build the building. And so when we get the garden back, the challenge is that they've ruined our topsoil, and now we have to rebuild the topsoil. This is when I was watching them ruin it. I had built the topsoil for 17 years, and then they destroyed it in a matter of 3 weeks. So it's been
okay. We're a perky show.
Perky, I know. I'm going to get beyond. Sorry, I'm going to perk in a minute here.
Okay, go on. Well, what I really want, because I know you, but other people don't. So why don't you can finish being unperky, but I really want you to share the origins of the Learning Garden, because like I said, I remember before it was built or around when it was built, because that's when we met. So go on.
Well, and I had a gig where I was called in to give a presentation on how to grow things from seed. And I went over there, and it's like, holy cow, there's all this space and it's not being utilized. And I just kind of got a padlock and put it on one of these little doors out there and put up a sign that said Garden Master's Office, and started showing up every day. And presently, the chairwoman of the garden, Julie Mann, said, well, you're doing a great job. We'll have to figure out how to pay you. And so here it is, 17 years later, and I'm still not paid. So they haven't figured that out yet. But that's okay, because I'm doing what I want to do. And we founded the Seed Library of Los Angeles there, and all kinds of good stuff.
And so are you still getting to the garden now?
Yeah. Okay. I go in just 3 days a week right now, making sure the plants are moist, and all the drying. And also I'm starting lots of baby plants, because we are supposed to get the rest of the garden back in late May or early June. And when that happens, I want to be able to go in there with all these plants and have a plant-a-thon.
Awesome. Right? Well, Okay, well then I really want to get into the questions last night because
Okay.
it really starts with this very important question because the seasons, they don't really exist right now. I mean, we're in California and it's warm, and apparently there are storms back east, and a lot of people are indoors, and it's very challenging to sort of celebrate the change of seasons, which I think is all the more reason
Hmm.
to celebrate the change of seasons.
Good point.
So, what does spring mean to you as someone who grew up in gardens
Hmm.
and as the human? It has to have some meaning, right?
Well, I first of all, I think that we have season changes all through the world, and in Southern California, particularly Los Angeles area, we have a Mediterranean climate, and so the changes from season to season are very subtle, but they're very real. I mean, and so spring is of course the opening of the new year, the new growth and things like that. You do see that in many trees. They have this growth that comes up with fresh leaves in spring and fresh this and fresh that. So yeah, spring is a milder. It's like mild summer, but it is a time of beginnings, a time of growth. Um, with a more gentle sun, although we've had some days that are really really difficult to get along with, and of course it's the pathway to summer. So right now we're planting all these planties, little planties. They're all about this big, to go in the ground, and that's spring to me, right? That's spring in an essence.
It,
Oh, thank you.
Deborah Taylor wrote, "See Library, Critical Important Treasures." Thank you, David King. And thank you, Deborah Taylor, for
Yes.
popping in to say that, because it's really, this is when, well, of course, I'm like saying three things at once, which is kind of normal for me. I just remember growing up, Mother's Day, which was yesterday, that was the day we planted the family garden.
There you go.
So I always have that kind of association with it. And we have to think about growth and rebirth. It's going to be a while, but
Hmm.
a lot of people are starting from scratch right now. So what better time to be thinking about this than now, right?
Well, I had a eye open. Both eyes got opened
Yeah.
the other day. I sat down to order some seeds, and every supplier I usually go to was sold out.
Nice.
People, and so I think that's great. I'm just kind of sad that many people that bought the seeds are not going to follow through, or don't know what to do with them, or whatever like that. So, yeah, but it's amazing. I didn't believe that people would have made the connection, especially people living in cities. I understand the farm people living on the suburbs or whatever, but living in the cities, go, wow, I'm going to buy some seeds. Blow me
Okay.
away.
I actually want to get to that in a second. I want to follow that thread. So,
Okay.
but before we even start planting, so how do you get organized for the change of seasons?
That's a good question, and the answer is, first of all, I don't think ahead from. I don't think ahead in spring. I'm sorry, about winter into spring, or spring into summer, or summer into fall, fall into winter. I'm thinking about fall to fall,
Okay.
right? So I've got the whole thing, and what I'm trying to do, you plant these plants out that says, well, it's supposed to be out there for 63 days. So then immediately I'm looking ahead 2 months from now, what am I putting in that slot? And right, because 63 days is close to 2 months, right? I'm just,
Right.
I'm rounding,
You're
rounding,
rounding. It's
I'm
okay. 2
rounding.
months.
Yeah.
We'll accept it. 2 months. Good.
Yeah. Well, and of course that's all dependent on the plant too, because you get some of these plants that just go, screw you, I am not growing. It's not time for me to grow yet. You've planted me in too cold of a soil. Tomatoes are famous for that. You put a tomato in the ground and the soil is not warm yet for the tomatoes, and they'll sit there and just they hold resentments.
Okay. So, what is the first thing you plant?
A chair.
Okay. Go on.
I
Why?
went All right. Here's the deal. This in all my years of teaching, this is the reason most people fail as beginning gardeners. They have their little spot of land. They get out there and they dig the crap out of it, right? And they get it all set up, and then they plant it. And then at 7:30 p.m., having been working all day in the sun, they're sunburned and crack open a case of beer to try and get rid of this thought about the garden. And when anybody says garden, their skin crawls because of all that work they did, and they didn't get anything out of it. So start out with a 2-foot square, 2 feet square. That's all you need to start with. That's your first planting project. And you get that cleaned out. You clean out all the grass and all the weeds, and then you plant it with whatever you have in mind to plant. Plant it with that which you want to eat the most.
Okay.
So if you have a chair, then you can get a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, bottle of beer, I don't care what, and go out there and sit down at your garden. And the garden, make the garden a part of the web of your life. So
okay,
that you
so
are
it's part of your day.
Yes. It's a part of your day, and also you haven't overexerted. So then you come out the next day and you do another 2 square foot, right? And by the time you get to the end of your little garden, this area over here you planted first is now beginning to look like something, look like it's going to be an eggplant, or it looks like it's going to be a zucchini, right? So yes, that's the plot.
Okay, so what about people who live in an apartment who do not have an outdoor space?
Yeah.
I mean, at least there are chairs readily accessible.
Yes.
But how do we garden?
Close, and it's close to the kitchen, by the way, which is even more. Well, you have to, first of all, that's probably one of the more difficult ways of gardening, because you go into a container, and the containers have to be watched carefully to make sure they don't dry out, which is one of the big problems that happens in California. We have these hot days, and yet we're so close to the ocean that you'd think, wow, that's okay. And then you come back and you all did like that. That's an official prescription.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful. But that doesn't help me, who desperately wants to grow food.
What do you want to grow? What do you want to? What's your favorite thing to eat?
I was gonna say ice cream, but you can't really grow that.
No, it's hard. You have to be in cold climates to grow ice cream.
Well, I am from a cold climate, so at least I have that going for me. Let's start with something simple. I like fresh herbs, and I can't seem to keep them alive. That's
great. So here's the deal: is the larger your container, right? It can withstand the vicissitudes of sun and hot air and wind and all that stuff. It's going to be a much better position to be to live. So get a pot yay big.
Yeah. I can't see your hands.
Oh,
can you
you
give
can't
me
see
like
my
inches?
hands. Well,
No.
about this big. No, about you see that? Okay. I'm thinking about an 18-inch size.
Okay, 18 inches wide.
Wide and maybe 6, 8, 12 inches deep.
Okay, I'm making a note.
Okay. And then you take that good potting soil.
Okay.
And usually I put a piece of screen. I'm right here at my desk. So this is a piece of screen.
Okay.
All right. Over the hole in the bottom, so insects can't get in and dirt doesn't fall out.
Okay.
Then add the soil. Now here's the key. A lot of beginners make this mistake, and that is water is transferred from the soil to the root, molecule by molecule. And so it is most important that your soil gets pressed up against that root hard, so that connection is made. So here's what I do. I fill the thing up with potting soil, and I scrunch it down. I like scrunching it down like this.
Okay.
It's just a habit I've learned, because sometimes there's plants in there and you don't want to kill the plants, or you don't want to damage the roots. So this is the least amount of damage to the roots. All right.
Okay, good to know.
So you have your little quart size of oregano, thyme, oregano, Time. This is a hard real estate to deal with, man. I'm used to this, you know. Yeah.
Wait,
See,
we gotta start somewhere, right?
yeah, starting somewhere. Maybe get a rosemary in the
Okay.
center. I mean, it's going to outgrow the pot, but that's okay. And what else do you use?
Well,
Oregano,
okay. Well, basil. Basil's good.
basil. Basil is an annual.
Okay.
So you're going to plant that and pull it out and then plant again and pull it out, plant. Yeah. So put
Okay.
that one near the side where
Okay,
it will.
so all of these plants can live together in the same
Yes.
18. So it's 18 by 12 deep by how wide?
No, it's an 18 circle.
Oh, 18 circle.
Circle. Yeah.
Okay. 18
The technical
squared,
terms.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
18 squared circle, 12
Right.
inches deep. And what you're telling me is all of these herbs can live together in
Yeah.
the same place.
Yes.
Awesome. What if I want tomatoes? Can I grow tomatoes inside? Can I grow
Yes.
lettuce? Can I grow, well, I was going to say carrots, but they're not.
They're a trial. They're
Yeah.
actually a trial. Lettuce is fairly easy to grow, and
Okay.
you look at some of these seed companies. There's wonderful lettuces. I've got one lettuce. I bought it for the name. I copped to it. I bought it for the name.
What's
But
it called?
then, Drunken Woman.
Okay.
It first came out as Drunken Woman Frizzy Head, but they've just shortened it to Drunken Woman. I don't think the frizzy head was important. But anyway, this
Wait,
lettuce.
how is that a wait? No. So how is that a lettuce?
Oh, well, there's many different kinds of lettuces. You know, it's not just the head of lettuce, right? You get from the store, right? But they have loose leaf, which don't form a head at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you have Drunken Woman out in your garden or in a pot, people are going to walk in. They're going to ignore you and go, "What's that?" It's that much of a shocker. I mean, it really is. It's red. It's a brilliant, brilliant red. And then there's some French varieties that are really good. And just see, in my case, I would buy this packet of seed.
Okay.
And once I've got a container full, and again, you could use an 18 by 12 for a couple of heads of lettuce, a couple of plants of lettuce. And it's really cool if you like plant one type that's what do they call that? Romaine. A romaine lettuce with a nice deep green, and then maybe Drunken Woman, which is bright red, or Rouge de Vert, which is also red. And also, let's see, Rouge de Vert, and there's another Marvet de Quatre Saisons. Now, I've spent hours learning these things, so I can say them. So, but,
okay, I was going to say, you know, I could take notes, or I could just message you later.
That's right. Marvel, what is it? Marvel de Quatre Saisons is Marvel the Four Seasons. And in most of the world, it will grow in all four seasons. But in California, in the late summer, it's too hot. So ours, it's only 3.5 seasons. If we had grown it, we would have called it Marvel the 3.5 Seasons. But it makes a long packet title.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So different kinds of lettuce in this square round 18.
Yeah. Yeah. Square round.
Okay. And I'm going to become so obsessed with gardening, I won't have room for my appliances in my kitchen. And that's okay, because at least I'll have food. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need appliances. Appliances, you know, I mean, try chewing on your can opener or your toaster.
No, we're talking about my Instant Pot here.
Your Instant Pot.
My Instant Pot is the thing that the vegetables go in to make soup. So,
well, there you go. If you have all those herbs out there, you're going to have the freshest herbs possible.
Okay, I have another question. What about? I know you can regrow. You can regrow things in water.
Yeah.
Yes or no? You're giving me that skeptical. Only dirt counts look.
No, you can. I just don't think that it's, to me, it's not been satisfactory.
Why?
Because, all right, you grow a carrot. well, you cut off the bottom of the carrot and then you put it in water to grow another bottom. And you've got to wait a long time before it will even try to grow a bottom, because it's going to put all that energy into leaves, and it's just like.
I didn't realize carrots had thumbs, but okay, good. Or is that waiting for the carrot?
Thumb carrots. Actually, there's a carrot called Tom Thumb.
Okay, no, we're not getting into names again because you're confused me.
Right. I like names.
Well, you are also a writer, so
exactly.
It's good that you like names.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anybody is listening and they have thoughts on this or other spring projects, please chime on in. Okay, now back to me. So water, is it not going to taste as good, or it's just going to take too long?
I don't think you'll end up with a harvest worth the effort.
Okay. And what about all these people are saying, oh, hydroponics are the new thing?
I do think that in the very near future, hydroponics are going to be a major force, and we will get a lot of our vegetables from hydroponics. I am a dirt farmer. I don't appreciate hydroponics, and I think that going.
By saying the H word. I said the H word. I apologize for swearing.
Well, it's just that they don't. I'll tell you what. In a farmer's in tomato season, go to a farmer's market, buy a hydroponic tomato, and buy a dirt tomato, right? Take them home, do a blindfold test, and the dirt tomato will blow your socks off, while the hydro, whatever it is not going to be, it's going to taste like mush, which means it tastes like nothing.
Okay, so even though there's a time and a place for the H word, we're still, dirt is going to make better tasting vegetables and herbs and everything.
That's my professional opinion.
Okay. Well, you do know things, especially about dirt and farming and growing and all that. Okay, so I'm going to put the next question up, even though we've kind of like totally segued into this, which is, what are some of your spring projects this year? So I know you're rebuilding the garden.
Yes.
And this does not have to be a complete garden answer, but it can be. And if you're watching, please chime in. Let us know what you're working on. Let us know if you're pro dirt or pro hydroponic, because that I'm sure there are people who could. Oh, that would have been fun to like have you argue with a water farmer. You live, you learn. Okay.
Well, I do think we will depend on it. I do think that will be a part of the mix. We're going to have to do a lot of things to be able to feed this number of people we have on the planet. We've overpopulated.
Yes. And
somehow killing them off is frowned on.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not playing we live in this age where a lot of people are affected and getting sick, because we're a very happy show here.
Yeah.
We're all about the optimistic plan for the future, even though right now you can't really leave your house that much. So what okay, I'm rephrasing the question. What spring projects can people do from home to make their lives brighter and more garden friendly or otherwise?
Well, first of all, we already spoke that this is the season. I mean, spring is the season. So I would suggest going down to a nursery and purchasing some containers and some good potting soil. And don't scrimp on the potting soil, because that's like the crux of your whole experiment. So, but do experiment. You can check out my blog. There's some planting tips in there, and certainly there's some seasonal tips in there. But you want to plant your seeds. Now, you can grow tomatoes from seed. It takes some time. I'm patient. I'm a gardener. But you might not be so patient, so maybe you could buy a plant.
You've met me, right?
Who, me?
Okay, go on. If
So
you are patient, okay, but if you get seeds now, are you still going to get food soon?
yeah.
Really?
Well, tomatoes not so soon. Peppers not so soon. So I
So
personally,
what can you get?
well, let me tell you, for
Please.
from local nurseries right now, I would probably
Mm-hmm.
get a tomato, there's some peppers like mild and also spicy. I could use if you like eggplant, you can get some eggplant. If you like okra, you can get some okra. And so put these into individual containers with maybe some the little flower alyssum or the purple flower lobelia, and
Why?
put them next to the edge so they'll spill over the edge and add color
Okay.
and be much more beautiful that way. I actually taught a class one time, the beautiful food garden. It was a flop, but no, actually, it wasn't a
Really?
flop. No, it wasn't.
No.
We had a good time. We had a good time, and we learned. For me, it was a great experience because I hadn't really thought of a food garden as being a beautiful garden. But you
It's
can do that.
food.
It's
Of
food, I
course it's
know.
beautiful.
Yes, yes, it is. I
Okay,
mean,
so
certainly nowadays you can get into to peppers that have like 5,000 colors. I mean, you could buy peppers with enough variation in color. You could have one pinned to your as a bouquet, right? Every day of the week and not be the same color.
wow. That's pretty
That
cool.
would impress people.
So lovely to see you on Zoom today. What color pepper are you wearing? It would be a conversation starter. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Sorry,
I'm used
not
to it
sorry.
by now. No, but also, but see, you would go down to the different nurseries. Just make a day of it and go to here and go to there. And
Okay, are the nurseries open?
yes, some of them. I haven't
Okay.
gone to one that hasn't been.
Oh, because it's essential?
Yeah. Well,
Because
food
it's
is.
food.
It's food.
It's food.
It's food.
Okay.
And it's probably not, it's probably difficult to transmit diseases in a nursery, right? And
Well,
unless you're
I don't.
necking. I said something
What
wrong.
others? What? So what is the? I just want to kind of hammer this home a little bit. So I'm gonna.
Mhm.
I don't know if I asked you this before since we're talking. What are the benefits of being at one with nature?
Oh, God. First of all, you get something to eat. And that to me is very important. But also, though, living in a city is in some respects a little bit like selling your soul to the devil on a 24-hour basis. So working with plants, getting the dirt under your nails and things like that, to me, are the best recreation I could possibly have. For not only do you get a satisfaction of knowing you've got something to eat coming down the road, but you have this peace because humans have tilled the soil since the beginning. I think that a lot of when we read religious texts from ancient people, that in there the measurements and everything like that are all based in agriculture, in crops you grow and crops that they would know. So I find a great deal of satisfaction just doing it and having it survive. I mean, for me now, its survival rate's pretty high, but there was a time there where let's put
You
this with that. Yeah.
really? So
Well, yeah,
there's hope for me. That's what
yeah.
you're saying. There's hope for me. Good
I
to
think
know.
the only difference is that I took notes.
Well, I can take notes. I can
When it
watch this
failed,
again.
when it failed, right. When it failed, though, I had notes. I'm 8 years old, and I'm teaching myself how to grow more things. But I also had a grandfather that I looked up to, and also I think that my job. I mean, when I was born, I was stamped with farmer. And I get goosebumps to tell you that.
That's really cool because some people go their whole life and they don't know.
I know it took me a long time. Well, see, I wanted to have a girlfriend, and I figured if I was a gardener, I would never get a girlfriend. So I quit, and that's why I started playing music.
Really? I
Yeah,
didn't know this story.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what brought you back to gardening? You got hungry?
Yeah, that would be the simple one. Yeah. No, I was music was killing me, and one day, and so I was trying to get a real job, and
Yeah.
I ended up I went to this job interview, and you know how you have those job interviews, and halfway through it, his lights go out. You know, he rolls down the curtains, and he's gone home, and he's and you're sitting there going, oh great. So, but I got done with that, and it was really depressing, and I went out and I got a sandwich and a Coke, and I went up and I found the garden over there on Ocean View Farms, and it was raining, and I'm in my suit, and I walked through the garden in the rain in my suit, and the thing of it is the plants talk to me, and I know, and I get goosebumps to tell you that, because that's when I knew I had to work with plants. It didn't matter what else I did, well, maybe breathing, but I had to work with plants. That's how it came about.
That's in your book, I hope.
Yeah, it will be.
that whole in the thing that I talk about frequently is, and part of why I wrote my book is, change happens, whether it's your choice or circumstance,
Right.
And you have to rethink your life. It's a roadmap to make the whole process less scary. And a lot of people right now are going through a time where there's a lot of uncertainty, and we all know the things that we love. We just don't always give ourselves permission to explore them.
Right. And I will tell you that my life after that, there was a huge change, and things happened that I didn't necessarily choreograph. And I was shunted into here, shunted into there. I didn't want to do that, but ended up having to do that. And guess what? It worked out for me, and I met so-and-so or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, I wasn't always the garden master. At one time I was the garden boo-boo, so.
Well, I think it's such a wonderful story. And like I said, I've known you a long time, and I hadn't heard that one. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think I'm bringing it back to goals, because I am me.
You am. I know you am.
And this is Goal Chat Live. And so for me, spring means gardening, which is why we're having this conversation. It's regrowth, it's rebirth, it's giving yourself permission to explore something. And a lot of the times, and there's always the balance between the professional goals and the personal goals. So I think I like to give like an extra credit bonus goal is to find spring, what that means to you, and do something about it this week. Even if it's just an hour, like get some dirt, or take a walk, or do something to breathe like some spring life into you. What do you think?
Also, when you pass roses, stop to smell them.
Wow, that's profound. I kind of feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, it's somewhere. But that's I do that. I walk the dog, and sometimes we get caught up in front of a rose, and he's going like, "Why are we still standing here?" But and there's some marvelous roses in my neighborhood when we go out for dog walks. So we see all these roses, and I do think that honestly, to just stop, whether you stop and smell it or not, but just to stop and look at it, right, and take it in, because some of those roses are just absolutely magnificent.
Okay, I think that sounds good. Any final words of wisdom, or was that it?
Well, they often say plant your corn early, but I don't think that's a good one for California. So I would say just get yourself a chair and sit yourself down, and you'll become a very good gardener eventually.
Okay, and if you don't want to garden, get yourself a chair anyway and sit outside and breathe the fresh air, and maybe do a little bit of meditation. Or just some thinking and enjoying of the change of season.
Whatever cranks your tractor. Wasn't that perfect,
Spoken like
though?
a farmer.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David King, for joining us today. We've been speaking with David King, Garden Master, Learning Garden, everywhere else. Where can people find you?
What you call it?
There, LAGardenblog.com.
Yes, that right there. You got it. LAGardenblog.com. That's me. And also, you find out about me. There is a learning garden page. It's a little bit just underused. And then there's the Seed Library of Los Angeles, SLOLA.org.
Okay. And if people want a little bit of encouragement in their spring, if they want to put some spring in their gardening stuff.
There.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was terrible. That was such a groan.
I liked it.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course, you've seen the extent of my humor, so that might.
Well, thank you again for joining us today, David King. I'm Debra Eckerling from the Deb Method and author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. Please join me for Goal Chat every Sunday on Twitter at 7 p.m. and every Monday at 4 p.m. right here from the Mango Facebook page. See, I love that my publisher is Mango because it's fruit. I'm
cool with that. Mango's great. Yeah.
It stands for community. So, it's definitely the right place for me. Fruit, community. I mean, what more could you really ask for, right?
Well, let's see. No, you're right.
Okay, thank you, everyone. If you're watching live or on the replay, please let us know in the comments what your goals are for spring, what spring means to you, and join in the conversation. Until next time, this is Debra Eckerling, and find a good personal project. Work on it this week and let us know how it goes.